Hi everyone, Rainey with My Dream Boat Project, and we're doing our DIY boat building hangout. And this is going to be boat building and living on. And we're meeting today with Norm Walker on his, he's a captain of the Peggy Ann on East Coast, Australia. Did I get that right?
All of that's correct, Renee.
Well, welcome, Norm. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, thanks. Good to be in the States.
Yeah, I know.
This is the only way to.
You're right there.
Yeah, well, this is the only way to fly, I reckon.
Now, what I want to do, the reason I've wanted you on, Norm, is I think I've been following you pretty much right from the beginning. I mean, I've seen all your videos for quite a while. Maybe not the beginning, but I went to the ones I hadn't seen. so it's like I've known you for years, right?
Right.
And I've always been amazed with the Peggy Ann. I think a few times I wrote to you and what's the dimensions of the walkway? What's the dimension of this? And I was trying to copy it as much as I could, but haven't been able to find that boat yet. So
he's a bit unique.
I'll be the one buying yours when you're ready to upgrade.
Right. Got to line up. You got to get in the queue for that one, mate.
Okay, I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't we start out by telling me a little bit about yourself and what you do, and we'll go from there.
Okay, where do you start? A long while ago, I started mucking around in boats, I guess, when I was about 8. My parents, or my dad, he bought a hull and deck of a little hard chine Bondwood ski boat and finished it off in the garage at home. And I was probably around about 8 years old, and I can remember my first job on a boat. I got the job of getting right up in the prow of this little Bondwood. It was only 18 foot, I think, but I got the job of getting right up in the prow of this boat and putting paint where he couldn't get in and paint. So that was my first job on a boat. But yeah, and we water skied with that. Well, I learned to water ski, and the family sort of water skied. So that was my introduction to boating, if you like. And yeah, I learned a lot. I remember, having engine problems on that little boat and being with Dad when he tried to fix them, and learned a bit. And you do learn a bit from being with fathers. And I learned quite a lot with that little boat. And then, of course, I went on. I skied for probably 15 years, and then grew up, got a job. And moved out of home, as we used to back in those days. And
move out, yeah.
I dropped boating for a little while, but it wasn't very long. And eventually, when I was married, we moved to a place called Tooradin, which was on the water. It was on Western Port Bay. You can Google that up and have a look. It's probably about 100 kilometres. I'm not sure, probably about 70 miles for you guys from Melbourne. But it was a little country town, but it was right on Western Port Bay. So I was back on the water, and I started mucking around in boats again. And I think my first boat, when I was in my 20s, I bought a half cabin fishing boat, did a bit of fishing, and then didn't like that much, so I sold it and went to a trailer sailor. So I bought an 18-foot trailer sailor. And I explored all of Western Port Bay in that with my dog virtually. Took the wife out on it once, I think, and she thought it was going to tip over when the wind got in the sails. So she wasn't real keen. So I did a lot of sailing back then on my own, did a couple of races with it. And then from there, I found the biggest problem with the trailer sailor was, when you wanted to use, you had to go and drag it to the ramp, which wasn't far, but then I had to rig it and unrig it and all that. And so I ended up buying a little, it was a strange little boat. Everyone in Tooradin called it the, what did they call it? It was a Chinese name. It had a Chinese diesel in it, and you could hear it was a little putt-putt motor. It was about 18 foot, I think. It was a clinker fiberglass hull. I built a little cabin on the front of it, and it was, what was the name of it? Dong Feng, they called it. Dong Feng. The motor was a single cylinder Chinese diesel, and it just went pop, 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 pop. That's the noise it made. You could hear it from miles away, and I enjoyed that for probably 2 or 3 years. And then the story, it's a long story, but I'll keep on going. From there, I decided to build a steel boat. So I built a 38-foot steel boat from the keel up. Learned a lot doing that as well, yeah. And threw the wife and kids on it, and we took 2 years off. I was working for myself, and I just sold a business. So we took 2 years off, homeschooled the kids, and I travelled up this coast. That would have been 40 years ago, I guess. And it was great, but back then I wasn't financially viable enough to keep it going. So we could only do it for a couple of years. So I went back, got another job. I'd sold the business, so I got a job working for a guy for about 3 or 4 years, and then came up with the idea. I've mainly always worked for myself, and it was good to work for someone else, I suppose. You get that side of how work happens, but you don't make. I found that you didn't make as much money as you could working for yourself. So I had built a little aluminium punt. It was virtually, how long was it? I think it was 8 metres long. It had a 10 horsepower outboard on it. It was in survey, and I could take 14 people on a trip up into the mangroves at Tooradin. So I started a little business doing these mangrove tours. So I was doing that, and then there was a business opportunity came up. There was an old school building right on the inlet, and it was being run by the government as a marine life centre. They called it the Tooradin Marine Life Centre. So that had been running there for quite some time, and then they decided they were going to close it down. I think the girl who was in charge of it was going on maternity leave, and they decided that they were going to shut the place down. So I went to the government. I had to deal with 3 government departments, but eventually, after a lot of toing and throwing, I got permission to run the place. So I got a lease on the place, and we got a 10-year lease, and we could run it as a centre. So what I did, I incorporated this little boat I built with the centre. So the school kids that came there got a boat trip, as well as it had an aquarium. I had to learn in a weekend how to look after fish. I've never done that before. So I had this quite big project on, and we improved it a lot over 8 years. I drove over the other side of Australia to Western Australia and picked up a whale skeleton. We brought it back, put it all back together, had it hanging up in the ceiling of one of the classrooms there. I had a sperm whale skull on a stand to show the kids how big they were. And we taught about the marine environment. And that went along for about 8 years. And then the government of the day, the state government of the day, decided they needed some money. So they were selling up anything that wasn't bolted down. So this piece of land I was on, it was Crown land when I was there, and I was renting it. They decided they could change it and sell it. So they came to me and said, well, if you want to be here, you're going to have to buy it. So a bit of toing and froing, but I ended up going in the tender process and bought the property. So when I bought the property, I had to borrow money. I was debt-free at that stage, and I didn't want to do it, but I had to borrow more money from the bank to buy the business. So I bought that, and when I was in the process of buying it, I thought, well, what can we do to get more people to this centre? And it was very hard to do because we were pretty flat out by that stage anyway. I think we had 18,000 kids a year coming through it, so it was very successful. And what I came up with, I decided to build Peggy Ann. I thought I'll build this as a secondary school resource. So I built it, and I put it in a marina which wasn't far away, 20 minutes away, and ran it out into Western Port from that marina. So then the workload became really big because I'm running this centre. I had to employ a coxswain to run the little boat that I used to drive, and then I'd go down to Hastings, jump on this boat, get it set up, and take we had 2 classes of Year 11 biology kids went out into Western Port every day on this boat. So this boat started life as a tour boat virtually, or an excursion boat, where we were taking kids out and learning about the marine environment in Western Port. So yeah, that's how this boat really started its life. Yeah. So from there,
that was a story. I remember seeing that somewhere. I don't know if you had that.
Yeah.
if there was a video of that somewhere that you had once. I remember
Probably not, because there wasn't much video back in that. When I started video, it was all on tape. So they were little tapes, but they were still tapes. So there wasn't that much video on it. I don't think there wasn't the social media there. It's not. We're going back to 1982 or something. 2002 now. So it was quite a long time ago. But I've got photos, but not much video, unfortunately. But that was going really well. We ran that for 2 years that way, and then where this Marine Life Centre was, it was an old primary school, so it was built out of weatherboards. It had kainite ceilings. It was all timber, and it was a fire risk. About 6 months before this, I'd had an electrician come in to check all the wiring because I was pretty worried about fire. But I didn't count on, right across the road from where the business was, there was a caravan park, and there was a bloke that moved into a caravan there, and he was a bit of a pyromaniac. He set fire to 3 caravans that one night, and then I got the phone call 5 o'clock in the morning to come down and watch my business fall in a big heap, the whale skeleton and everything. So it was really kicked me pretty hard, I think. And of course, it was insured, and the insurance company said, "Oh, we can have a building up in 6 months." And I said, "Yeah, but it's all the stuff inside the whale skeleton. We had displays, we had stuffed animals, we had all sorts of things to get all that stuff back together and encourage schools to come again." It was going to be. I said, "Look, I think I'd be better," because I was pretty well into the bank by this stage. I'd built this boat, so I had quite a big loan with the bank. And I said to the insurance company, "I think I'd be better taking the cash, paying out my loans. I can keep running on the big boat," because this boat wasn't involved in it at all. It was a long way away. I can run programs on that boat until I get everything back together to start the centre up again. And the insurance company said, "Yeah, well, that's fine, but we'll only give you 30% of what you're insured for." And it was in the fine print. If you read the fine print, it was there. So anyway, I negotiated for a while. I think I got about 60% of what I was insured for. I paid the bank out. We ran programs on this boat for a year or so. And I look, I'm a pretty positive sort of bloke, but I think I was pretty well kicked. And after 12 months of running it on this, a guy came to me and offered me money to buy the business, and I said, "Yep." I jumped out real quick. I think I was pretty well over it. I sold the business, but not the boat. I wouldn't sell him the boat. And I've changed the boat round to do some cruising. I thought, well, if I sell this, it cashes me up a bit, and I could see light at the end of the tunnel as far as finances went. And I was getting closer to retirement age as well. And I changed this boat round so that it would accommodate us better, and took it round Tassie, then up the coast. And that was the first trip she did. So, that's how it sort of the boat was.
Let's show people real quick what the boat looks like here. And I should have that right there. There's a Peggy Ann. I found this on, I took it off one of your videos.
Okay.
Let's see. There you are. So this is what the boat looks like, folks. And I took a few pictures with it, and I got some of the older pictures as well. This is a picture of you. You just pulled up your tender.
Yeah, that's at San Remo. That's in Western Port Bay, actually. And, that's the old tender. I used to have an inflatable tender, but I couldn't keep it glued together in the sun here. So I've got a different tender now. But, that was the old tender on the boat. And that was
I remember the story about this where you had it with just the cabin, and then you made it to the 2 cabins. And
well, this is before when I decided to run a boat to do the school thing on. I couldn't afford to just go and buy one. So what I did, I bought these set of hulls, and they were made up in Queensland. I was down in Victoria, about 1,000 nautical mile. And I ordered these hulls off the boat builder, and it was going to cost me, back then, it was going to cost me $15,000 to truck them down. That's on the roof of my house in Turton there. So I was on 8 acres of land. There's a fair bit of land around. There's plenty of room to build a boat, if you like. So what I did, I got the hulls made. I got the builder to put a deck on the boat. and you can just see the top of a little cabin. That was about 5 sheets of ply we stuck together and chopper gunned them onto the deck. And then we motored that down the coast as a hull and deck. Yeah, I wish video had been around then, because that was an epic trip. And then I sat it beside the house and built the cabin and finished the boat off. Yeah, so there's a lot of me. There's a lot of There's a lot of me in this boat.
Okay, yeah, I got a kick out of some of these recent pictures you sent me.
Yeah,
this is neat. It looks like you built it separately and just lowered it on there, huh?
Yeah, I did. While the hulls were being built, I was building the cabin, and then we just got a crane, lifted it on, and then fiberglassed it onto the hull.
Okay. Now, is that all marine ply or regular ply, or what do you got in there?
It's just regular ply, but it's all glassed outside, and it's the front section of it up forward of where I'm sitting now. Actually, is glassed inside and out, so it's pretty bulletproof. And then back from where I'm sitting now, I've left the ply exposed and just stained it and give it that wood look.
Okay. And that was it for the old ones. And here's I wanted to show people before we got talking too much, so they could see what the boat looks like. And you've got a sail on the front and the nice
catamaran
underneath. Yeah.
Yep. Plenty of bridge deck clearance.
And that's where you are now.
That's where I'm sitting now. Yeah, sitting just to the left of the screen there.
Let's go back over here. There we go. Oh, great. So we can see the transformation. Now, from what I remember, at first you didn't have the back part where the bedroom is. So you made a separate bedroom.
It was all work deck space out there, because we used to put 32 kids on the boat at a time, so we needed the space. And where the bedroom out the back is now, the aft deck used to be a work deck. So what we used to do, the main focus of the boat, we had a permit to use a sampling dredge, and when we put the kids on board, we used to split them into groups. But we'd go out, find a spot, we'd put a little dredge. It was only probably 2 feet by 6 inches by 2 feet. We'd put that over the back of the boat and drag it along the bottom for like a nautical mile. And then once we'd done that, the kids would actually winch the dredge up. It'd be unloaded into a fish tub, and that fish tub would go into a table that was on the work deck. And I had a marine scientist would go over all the animals that came out of the dredge and classify all the animals. And it was a great thing. The kids loved it, and I enjoyed it. I was out in the water working. What better way could you do it? And the schools would they'd bring the kids down. They'd do the day. They'd book for the next year as they got off the boat. Virtually, they loved it. So it was really good. It covered 2 work requirements of year 11 biology in Victoria. So it was a great excursion for the year 11 kids. So yeah, we had quite a few. We used to do 2 classes of year 11s a day on this boat, while we're doing 4 classes of grade 4s at the Marine Centre at Tooradin. So it was it was hard work. And when I look back at it, I think I was bloody tragic that guy lit the fire and put me out of business. But by the same token, he might have done me a favour, because if he hadn't, I might have still been doing it, and it would have been very hard work by now, I think. So when he did it, it really forced me to make other decisions, and that got me into cruising. And I've been cruising now for the last 20 years. Absolutely love it. I don't want to do anything else but do what I'm doing right now. So it's a great way to retire.
Yeah. And that's the cool part. There's only, I think, 2 videos, a series of videos that I watch on a regular basis. One has been yours, and the other one is Gone with the Winds. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Yeah,
they have
I
a
watch them
too.
Yeah.
And it's just, your videos, I like to put it on full screen and just sit there. And a lot of times you'll have like the water and just watch it. It's just so peaceful, to be out there.
Yeah. Well, it is peaceful. I'm so relaxed all the time. And, the fire thing and all that, like, it really churned you up. It probably more than you think. So, you go from all of that drama and gut-wrenching stuff. but to just be on a boat and be on the water, it doesn't matter where you are. It's just peaceful, and that's the part of the lifestyle I love. Even when I'm going anywhere, we travel at 5.5. I built the boat not to go fast. I wanted economy, so I put smaller motors in it. So 5.5 knots under power, and the most churned up I get is when I roll a sail out. So that's pretty good. Yeah. So that's pretty good, and with the sail out, it'll give us maybe 7 knots. So that's a little help, you know. But it's a fantastically peaceful lifestyle, and the people you meet on the water, look, 99.9% of them are just great people. They're there to help. If something goes wrong, there's always someone there ready to help out, or, you know, either with knowledge or with parts and whatever. So it's a great community, and it's a fantastic lifestyle. I love it.
Right, well, if you're able to do that, I'm going to have you go ahead and show us around a little bit. And I'm gonna put you on full screen, which means you'll still be able to hear me, but you won't be able to see me.
Okay. Well, I might have to turn the camera around a little bit, and we might. I've got a hatch open here because I've been gassing my fridge, so I've still got that open. But we might start out in the bow, eh?
Here we go.
So you can see we've got really good walk around decks on the boat, and I needed that for the work I was doing with the kids. But this brings you up to the foredeck. If you watch my videos, you'll see I've just replaced this winch. I had a vertical one there that didn't really work, and I went to this one just about a month ago, I think. But it's a fantastic winch. I'm loving it. So you've got all this area up here. You can use this area if you're doing sundowners and it's not too hot, but there's no cover out here. So it's really something you might use later in the day when you're having a bit of a drink before the sun goes down. It's a great spot. But you can see I've got a sail on it, and I put the mast and the sail on probably about 14 years ago, just because I was doing a lot of travel up and down the coast, and as I said, 5.5 to 6 knots under motors, and that just really stabilises the boat. So when you get the head sail out, the head sail comes way back. It's quite a big sail, but it gives you a lot of stability, and you pick up another 1.5 knots, maybe 2 knots, depending on the wind. So it's really good. Here we have, hold on, I might just set this up. This is just so this is just a barbecue and a bit of an outdoor area. So I've got a sink there, can be the laundry, but a really good barbecue, and that runs on gas. That's the only gas appliance I've got on the boat. So the rest of the boats run fully on 240 volt.
I see you hiding your fishing poles up there.
Yeah, I've got a couple of fishing poles there, never get used.
I was going to say, I don't see you fishing an awful lot.
No, I don't like fishing. I'm not a fisherman. Okay, when I built the boat to cruise on, I put this extra fridge in too. So I've got a fridge freezer here, and that's the one I'm working on down in that hull at the moment. We've had to regas it, so I'm still doing a bit on that. So that gives you plenty of fridge and freezer space. And then you've got this walkway through the back here. When I built this cabin, so the cabin that you're looking at now was never there when I built the boat. That was all work deck area. So I built this cabin inside the engine rooms. So there were engine rooms down there, one that side, and then one on the other side. And I built it inside the engine rooms because I didn't want to cover them. And I had this waterproof door, watertight door on the back of the cabin. I needed to be able to swing that to close it. So that gave me this dimension here. So I can still close that door, but it's given us this breezeway through here, and it works really well because if you've got wet clothes or anything, you can hang off at a clothesline here, so you can hang them up in there, and it just gives you a nice little area. You do waste a bit of space doing it that way, but it's worked out pretty well. So this is now the main cabin. So there's a queen size bed in here. Can you see all that? Is it bright enough?
Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah, okay. So that's my sleeping cabin now. We've got good ventilation, good air inside. bit of a hanging locker, other space, bookshelf up the top there. Yeah, so that is my main cabin, but it doesn't. Yeah, plenty of room in that one. It doesn't impinge on. This is my. This is where I sit. This is the view. This is what I'm talking about. Being peaceful. You can just sit out here, and that's the view I've got at the moment. Tomorrow it'll be different.
Right.
So you can change it when you feel like it. I've got a head here. This is just a normal marine head, so that's always been there. That was part of it when I had the kids on the boat. While I'm out here, I'll just show you down the engine rooms. When I built the boat, I knew I was getting older and I wanted my engine rooms to be very accessible. So when you lift these hatches, you're virtually straight down on top of the motor. So there's the little motors down there. And you can see there's plenty of room. I can climb down in there and stand up, and it makes it really easy to service and do any work down there. So makes it a good boat for an old dude. Yeah. They're just very standard little Kubota diesels, about 42 horsepower each, and yeah, very standard little Kubota diesels, 42 horsepower each, shaft driven through a 2-to-1 ratio gearbox. Just all pretty standard stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'll go back inside, and when you come back into the main cabin here, so this is the saloon, if you like. This used to be my life jacket locker. I used to have to store 80 life jackets. So this was the locker, but I've turned that into a shower. So that's now my bathroom. So it's a good size shower, so that's handy. Right. Okay, this used to be a chart table when the boat was working, and we used to use it because the kids used to do a bit of chart work as part of the program. But what I've done, I've turned it into a helm seat. So from these seats down in the saloon, you can't see out of the window, so it's no good for keeping watch. So I built this into a seat that's up high that you can see out the windows, and it's been a real bonus. I've got this is just a step that pulls out. That'll slide out to about here, and that's how you get up, and you can rest your feet on it. So that just slides in out of the way when it's not being used. But that's a lot better use of space than being a chart table, that's for sure.
Right, right.
So that's the helm seat behind the helm, of course. So we've just got a standard wheel. All my instruments and controls are here. So I just keep them covered up when I'm not using them. Stop them getting too dusty. Okay, so that's the saloon. TV on the front bulkhead here. And then if we go down to starboard, we go down into a small galley.
Yeah.
So that's where I make coffee and any other meals I've got to prepare. I do a lot of cooking outside now. I've become a carnivore, so I'm doing a carnivore diet and doing all right. I've lost about 9 kilos on it, and pain-free. I've lost all my inflammatory pain, so I'm loving it. So I do most of my cooking out in the barbie now, but yeah, you can cook down here in the galley. It's a very small galley. It's really good in a seaway. If you're out at sea and you get down in here, the thing about it is, I don't know if you can see the angle or whatever, but you're virtually locked in. If there's a lot of sea on, there's nowhere you can go. You're sort of stuck in this pretty small spot. So you don't have to strap yourself in. Yeah, you can brace yourself against the wall and do it. It's got a microwave down there and a little oven there, and the hot plates are 240 volt. I run the whole galley on 240 volt now. I've got the lithium batteries in the inverter, so that's good. And then there's a cabin in here. This is actually a sleeping cabin, but I call this my junk bunk. So I've got my guitar on there, and we've got a bit of stuff associated with the galley there as well, and a bit more storage. So it can be cleaned out. I can stow all this stuff in another place if I do have to use the cabin as a sleeping cabin, but that works all right. And then on the other side up forward, there's another sleeping cabin. This is what the sleeping cabin should look like. So that's the other accommodation up for it. So it's nearly a double-sized berth. I call it a 3/4, but it's a pretty good bunk. Yeah, you can sleep 2 people in that, not too problem at all. And they've got a bit of stowage space for clothes and things like that as well.
Wow.
So that's about the boat. And then here we have what I call a pantry. It's just a low locker, but hold on, I'll turn a light on him. I've got a lot of storage on the boat, which I like. So that's just got a lot of food and that we can store in there. But this is where I keep all my lithium batteries and my electronics as well. So my inverter and solar panel controllers and all that are in there, tools. So it's a bit of a storage room, but yeah, it works really well.
Great.
And I think that's about it.
Yep. Wow, great. Well, I appreciate the tour.
I don't know, have I made my camera zoom in or something? I look pretty big. How are we going with the vision? That might be better. Okay.
Now, you also recently hooked up the Starlink. How do you like that?
I did, yeah. I love it. Fantastic. It's I put it when I first got it. I tried it just mounting it on the handrail, and it worked really well.
Yeah,
very easy.
I remember that.
Yeah, a little picture there. If you look at my vid, you can see everything about the Starlink setup. That worked well. It was really good, but it was a bit. I knew it was going to get ripped off somewhere, so I thought, no, I've got to do something else. So I've mounted it flat on the roof, and there's a video on how I did that as well. I cut the back out of the dish and mounted it, and with it flat, it's probably not quite as good as having it so that it tilts and finds satellites. But look, I stream videos. Sometimes on an overcast, wet day, the videos drop out a little bit. You get a little bit of lagging there, but most of the time it's fine. And I've got it. One of the reasons I got it for was to upload videos, because when I upload through the phone service, it take me 2.5 to 3 hours to upload a 20-minute video. Well, I can do it in about an hour and a quarter through Starlink, so it's a lot quicker, and that's a bonus. And yeah, it's just good having it. It means I've got weather comms anywhere in the world virtually, but anywhere along the coast. You don't have any of the dead spots you get when you're dealing with Telstra, which is our telecommunications mob here. So you've got a couple of carriers here, Telstra and Optus, but Telstra, the main one, they've got pretty good coverage. Optus not so good, but there's still some places where you won't get Telstra either. It's there's some dead spots along the coast where you can't get any service. So it is handy to get that weather. When I'm cruising, I love to be getting the weather every day. So you can get it through.
Not so much for using it. Like if you wanted to go live while moving, you'd probably.
I'm probably going to do a bit more of that, because it is a great concept, and I think the viewers of my channel would probably enjoy it. So I'm probably going to do a bit more of that. Yeah. It gives you something to do if you're doing a long trip. If you're doing 10 hours, it gives you something to do doing the live feed. It's good fun. So I'll probably do a bit more of that when I start again. Yeah. But it is great. It's in Australia. It's the RV package that I've got is $177 a month, I think. But I've cut my Telstra package. I was spending $120 for Telstra. I've cut that back to $20 because I still need my phone if I'm away from the boat. I need to be able to Google and do things. But most of it goes through the Starlink setup. And I tell you what, Starlink Australia anyway, they're fantastic to deal with. I had a glitch with the first one I got. They sent me, worked for a little while and stopped, and there was a problem with the router we worked out. They sent me a complete new unit within 2 days. Sent me a complete new unit, no questions asked, and just asked me to send the other one back. So it was very good service. And
Wow.
and then they gave me 2 months free rental because of the inconvenience. So you can't expect any more than that. It was great. Yeah. So good
Wow.
mob to deal with. Yeah. Yeah.
Good. So right now, you're mostly what you're doing is going up and down the coast. Do you? That's what I see. So I want to try to understand this. Is there a point where you're going south and boom, I stop and turn around there and kind of like, the game Pong? You go north, turn around, boom, go back south. Is that what you're doing?
Well, usually it's seasonal. So when the cyclone, we're just finishing the cyclone season here now. So hopefully there's not too many more. But usually people head south to get away from the cyclone belt, which is northern Australia. Yep. So from Brisbane up is where the cyclones usually, form. So most people head to Brisbane or further south each year. I'm not too concerned about cyclones. I've done about 3 of them, and as long as you get up in the mangroves and tie yourselves up, you're pretty safe from them. Mm-hmm. So I'm not really concerned about them. But it does get quite warm up north as well. It's a bit strange for you guys because you probably say it gets warm as you go south, but we're south of the equator, so it's when we go north it gets warm, and it does get very warm up there during the summer months. So you're looking at quite high temperatures. I am loosely planning. What I'm trying to do is I'd like to go up into the Gulf, which is right up around the tip of Australia and down into the big Gulf. It's the Gulf of Carpentaria, and I'd like to try and get up there before I get too old. So I'm sort of loosely planning to do that this year, but what I need to do is get a crew on board. So I'm trying to entice a lady to come on board, and not as a partner so much, just as crew, bit of company, and someone to help me with the boat. And if I can get someone that's right, I'll probably do that trip up around the top. If it doesn't happen, I'm cruising, so I might only get to Great Keppel Island or the Whitsundays and then come back. The Wooden Boat Festival is on next February. That's down in Tasmania, so that's right down the bottom of the country. So you head to the cold weather down there. Even if you go down there in summer, it's pretty cold. So I may even go back down there. Look, I'm just making it up as I go. Yeah. So it's all good. Okay. But it'd be good to do the golf again. I've been up there once, but it was before video. And, it would be good to take my viewers up there, I guess. I don't know. Sometimes I think you're becoming a bit tied to your viewers. But, look, they're a great mob, and I like to try and show them new places, So it'd be interesting going up there, that's for sure. A few logistics involved, but it's all doable. And
well, you know the pubs and you know where to go, because you've been going back and forth.
Yeah. Well, you get up into some pretty remote country up the top there, but it's really good to do it. So we'll see about doing that. And look, eventually I'll get too old to do it, so I'm going to be stuck around here and maybe only do shorter trips. But while I'm still capable, I want to keep on doing the miles, And the boat, touch wood, the boat's going really well at the moment. Like, you just keep the maintenance up to her and the little things all the time. But keep her going. And she's a pretty honest old girl. There's nothing 5-star. Excuse me. There's nothing 5-star and nothing very complicated on the boat. She's all pretty simple to look after. So, I reckon she's got another 10,000 hours left in her, which is maybe more than what I've got. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
Well, like you say in all your videos, stay out there till you can't.
Exactly right. And
I love that
for anyone watching who's interested, I started a carnivore diet. I was suffering really badly from arthritis in my hands, and it made it debilitating. I couldn't really do what I wanted to do because of my hands. I had a problem with an elbow. It would just get inflamed, and some sort of bursitis, and a knee. And I've been doing carnivore keto really for 2 months. It's a new life. I'm pain-free. I've lost 9 kilos. It's fantastic. I'm just loving life at the moment. So it's given me a bit more of a kick along to go and do some more cruising. So that's good, Yeah.
That's great.
No, it's good.
Yeah, we were watching, and of course you got to us, so we started doing keto as well. So I've been eating mostly pretty much meat, cheese, and eggs.
Yeah, virtually what I'm doing. And I tell you what, if you've got any pains, they seem to leave the building. Like all the pain I had. My hands are fantastic now. Like I can do things, and it pretty well completely gone after 2 months. And I think losing the weight too. It's good being that much lighter. You know, it makes you a bit more active, I think, too. So it's good. But anyway, it started out as
you're an inspiration with that, as well as motor sailing all over the place.
well, it started out as a diet. I thought I'll try it for a month, but I think it's going to be a way of life now, because I just don't want that pain back. You know, I just want to keep on doing it.
Yeah, it's a different lifestyle. We've noticed I've felt a lot better as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. All those little things, niggly little things, they seem to just go away, which is great. You know, it's fantastic. And if you get on YouTube, there's lots and lots of anecdotal evidence. Lots of people had great responses to it. So that's why I'm doing it. You know, it's pretty radical, eating all that fat and salt and everything they want to eat, eggs and cheese. You think, oh, but I'm never hungry on it. I'm never hungry. It's great like that. So yeah, it's probably an easy one to keep going, I think.
Great. So what is, let me have you give your bit of advice to all the people watching who might be interested in doing what you're doing.
Okay. Just do it. Okay. I can guarantee you it's a fantastic lifestyle. It really is great. I'm bringing out a video probably in a couple of weeks on, I think it's going to be called So You Want to Retire Onto a Boat. So it'd be a good one to have a look at, because I go into all the intricacies of making the transition onto a boat when you retire. And there's a few things to take into account. The number one thing I can say to people, be very careful. Don't sell your house to buy the boat, because if you do that, all of a sudden you're locked in, and it might not be the life for you. It's not for everyone. And I know a lot of ladies, get seasick. And if someone gets seasick, it's not going to be the life you want to follow, really, I don't think. People do it, but I don't know how they do it, because I'd hate to get seasick. It doesn't bother me at all. I don't have to get seasickness at all. So it's something you've got to take into account. But the only sad stories I've seen in the boating fraternity have been people that have sold their house to buy the big boat and moved on board and then haven't liked it. And, of course, they're a bit stuck because the boat's lost value, the house they've sold has gained value, and it's very hard for them to get back in the market. So if they want to move back ashore, they're going to have to be in a smaller house, blah, blah. So that's the only advice I could really give. Please don't sell your house to move onto a boat. Make sure it's the life for you first, and try and transition slowly. Maybe go and charter a boat, see if you like it. Or some guys I met only a week or two ago, they're only in their 50s, so still working, and they have taken out a 10% share in a Integrity, a little 48-foot Integrity. So they've got 10% share in it. They can use it 10% of the time, and they're getting their boating smarts on this share boat. And they came up and said, oh, we love your videos. We watch you all the time. We want to retire this way. But they're transitioning through the share boat. And eventually when they retire, I guess they'll sell that, maybe do a ride out of it and buy their own boat. And that's a great way of doing it, I think. But, yeah, be a bit careful about selling the house. And if you have to sell the house to buy the boat, you can put yourself in a pretty awkward situation. So don't do it that way. But, yeah, otherwise, just do it. It's fantastic. The life is so good. It's just laid back, make it up as you go. I really don't have any plans for the next. I've got a doctor's appointment on the 14th of this month. I've got to, and I'm thinking about turning that into a little adventure, because there's a creek I can get this boat up, I think, and then get my dinghy a bit further up, and then get an Uber to the doctor. So I might turn that into a bit of an adventure anyway. So I'm looking at all the thing of that. So that'll be something to do. But that's only for blood tests and things like that. So once I've done that, I'm pretty free. Then the only other thing I've got to do is look at hard standing and anti-fouling. So that's a big chore each year, but we'll get that done, and then I'll be out of here. I'll be heading north, and always good to get out of here about this month or early next month. I think by the end of May it starts to get a bit cold here as well. Yeah, so get up where it's warmer. But how far we go depends. If I get crew, I might go a long way. If I don't, right. I'm probably happy to go to Great Keppel and bang around up there for a few months, We'll find something to do.
Well, I wish you luck with the crew.
Yeah. I put it out there on Facebook, and all I got was all my mates on Facebook giving me a hard time, so good on. Anyway, I've got broad shoulders. I'll put up with that. But not really many leads yet. I've had a couple of ladies from over stateside show interest, but I'm really a bit worried about that because it's a long way to come and it's a bit of an undertaking for them to get here, and then we really need to know each other pretty well before you put someone on. I don't want to put crew on board that I can't deal with. So
maybe a trial run for a couple of days,
Yeah, but it's hard to come from the States just to do a couple of days. That's the problem. If someone here, you could go out for a week and see how you get on with each other and do it that way. But if they're coming long distances, it makes it. I feel very awkward about. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it's another whole kettle of fish I've got to learn to deal with, I suppose. But it would be good to find someone that wanted to be on board for 6 or 8 months, and I could show them a really good time as far as going up into golf is concerned. It'd be great. But we'll find. There's a couple of leads there, so we'll just see how it goes. I've got to meet. There's one lady I've got to meet next week, so we'll just see how it goes.
And there's always a language. There's always a language barrier too, Norm.
Oh, true. Yeah, between women and men,
I mean, you folks speak funny.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
I said it before you.
we've got a different way of doing the English language. I'll tell you that for sure.
Yeah, north and south, south and north. The toilets go the wrong way. Everything.
Yeah. Well, I've only visited America once, and I loved it. It was great over there. But I tell you what, because you've gone north of the equator, you're totally disorientated. Like I've got a really good sense of direction most of the time here. But when I went to the States, you didn't know where north was, you didn't know where south was. Like it really messes with your head. Your gyro's way out when you go north of that equator, I reckon. But I was there for a month up in Northern California. It was we had a good time over there for a month. It was great. But I didn't like the plane trip much. Plane trip home was atrocious. So it's a long way on a plane,
So I think I'm going for a long drive overnight, and you put your shorts on because you think it's going to be summer, and you get out and there's snow. Oh no!
Right.
What happened?
Yeah. Well, I think I can amuse myself just bouncing up and down the coast for another 10 years, hopefully.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I did.
Shoot! My wife just yelled over here in Maine. We wear shorts in the winter. We're known for that.
Well, you'd be about the same climate as Tasmania, because I go down to Tassie and I've got a flannelette shirt, a jumper, and a pair of jeans on, and they're walking around in shorts and a t-shirt. And I go, you guys are nuts.
Well, if you ever come up here again, I'll take you ice fishing.
Yeah, okay. That'd be fun.
You can drive your car right out there on the ice.
Yeah. Drill a hole. That'd be good. Yeah. You build a little hut around it, or you just sit out in the elements?
What's that?
You have a little hut over it, or you out there in the elements?
I've got 2 little pop-up Eskimo shacks. You could drill a hole right in there, but I still drill the holes out there and just walk around from hole to hole. Yeah.
Well, it'd be interesting.
Sitting on a bucket, you sit on a bucket.
Yeah. Well, maybe that'd be interesting for my viewers. Maybe I'll have to take them over there. Just bite the bullet and take some sleeping tablets for the trip over and get over there. I'm sure my viewers on YouTube would probably like a bit of different scenery, which it would be. I love the mountains over there. When we were in Nevada and heading down to LA, I think we were at Reno, and met up with a friend that I'd met cruising years ago. And he had a beautiful house, looked right out on the mountains with the snow on top of them and all that, and it was fantastic. But yeah, it's great over there. I think all of the American people have got the same aspirations as we have here. The only thing is you've got a lot more guns. But but very like the people who are accommodating and friendly. It's just great, and I think I'd much rather travel to America and spend time over there than go to some of the islands around here where you've got to put electric fences up around your boat to keep the natives off. It's all. I want to do it.
The question I wanted to ask you: did you ever have trouble with pirates?
Not on this coast. No, never. I in 20 years living aboard, I think I've had people on the boat twice that shouldn't have been on it. One was 3 young fellas in a tinny, and I think they saw my fishing rods out there and were getting on to pinch them. Didn't know I was on board, and they got off pretty quick, I tell you. Crocodile Dundee, where he says, "That's not a knife. This is a knife." Well, I have one of those. I have one of those knives on the boat, so similar to that anyway. And yeah, they got off pretty quick. And another was I was tied up at a jetty somewhere, and there was a girl who was quite drunk who jumped onto the boat, and she got off pretty quick too. I got up and told her she better, and she probably took one look at me half naked and wanted to get off pretty quick anyway.
You wasn't quite drunk enough.
No, that's one thing I like about the life too, Renee. Over here, we're hearing about it all the time. They're home invasions. There was a woman, 72, killed, shot or stabbed or something, killed about 3 weeks ago just with a home invasion. And I think I sleep, when I'm on the pick here, I sleep with my doors unlocked. I never worry about anyone that wants to get on, do a home invasion on my home. They've got to get in a dinghy to get out there first, and you can usually hear it coming across. So I think the security part of living on a boat, being on the pick, is pretty top class. I like that. I can sleep at night. I do wake up if anything.
A big
I hear anything
going around a castle, right?
The moat, yeah. You're on a moat most of the time. I really don't like being tied up at jetties that much, because even if someone doesn't want to get on your boat, but you usually get fishermen come down and they fish, and they always have to have a chat, so it keeps you awake half the night hearing about the last girlfriend they had and all that. So it's pretty hard. But yeah, I'd rather be out in the pick and have that moat around me. It's nice and peaceful. Yeah, get a good night's sleep.
Well, Norm, I want to thank you for hanging out and chatting with us. I really enjoyed it. And just so you know, I am going to be putting links so people can watch your channel, watch your YouTube channel and Facebook. And I'm going to put links below the video so they can. And I encourage you folks to watch. It's a lot of fun. He gets himself into pickles when he goes in the engine compartment and can't get out. And it's a lot of fun to watch the scenery and the dolphins and all the things that you're seeing. It's crazy. So that will be there. And with that, we'll keep on watching. I'll keep on chatting with you, and stay out there until you can't.
Stay out there till you can't. Or you guys in the US as well. Stay out there till you can't.
Yeah.
Good on you, mate. Good on you, mate. Thanks very much.
Bye-bye now.
See you, no worries.